Good afternoon, everybody. If you could hear me and see the screen, just say good afternoon in the chat. We're going to get started as soon as possible. So I'm just taking a look at those who are responding to confirm who is here and locked in. Excuse my voice. I kind of a bit hoarse because I'm under the weather. So I just need you guys to bear with me today. So what we're gonna need today, guys, we're gonna need a calculator, we're gonna need a pencil, a ruler. The ruler is not mandatory, but it may be helpful in some cases, but definitely a pencil because we're gonna be drawing a lot today. We're gonna be focusing on question 7, and question 7 is pretty straightforward. We just gotta practice some concepts and learn how to find patterns and sequences. So what you're gonna do for me now, you're gonna copy down the date, the topic and the question. And once you guys have this, say done, and we're gonna get started. I'm feeling worse actually. Um, yeah, I thought I would have gotten better, but I don't know if it's a flu or something going around, but it mashing me up. hmm But I didn't want us to cancel class today because if we didn't do class today, we would fall behind schedule, so we have to stay on top of schedule. Yeah, I didn't even realize a flu was going on until I catch it apparently. How we looking? Y'all ready? Y'all done? So we copying down the date, the topic. So like I said before, once you finish copying down these stuff, you're gonna say done and we're gonna get started. You got it too? Uh-oh. I hope you feel better. I hope you don't feel like how I feel. All right, one person done, two, three, four, five. Waiting for more persons to confirm that they're finished. So after today's class, guys, we could check off question 7. Okay, so that means so far we could scratch off question 1 and question 7. For those in my class, question 2. All right. Now, the first thing we're going to do is identify how to find the rules for certain numbers and patterns. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off with an easy concept, right? And don't forget all these examples, I need y'all to copy down. So while I write these examples, I need y'all to copy them down with me so that we're on the same pace, right? And then I'll let you know which ones I need you to pay attention to. All right, so let's take our first example. All right, so sequence and patterns are numbers that generally follow a rule, and the rule helps us to determine the next set of numbers or future numbers. Something I need you guys to know is that n represents the position of the number. So for example, n would be 1 for 2 because that's the first position, 2 for 5 because that's the second position, 3 for 8, 4 for 11. Everybody with me? Everybody understand that part? Because this is very important. N represent the position that the number falls in. If you got it, say got it. I watch in the chat. I watch in the chat. I need everybody to communicate. I need everybody to confirm. Awesome. So if I want to find out the missing numbers, I would then have to figure out, well, what is done to the first term in order to get to the second term. Anybody could tell me what is being done to move from 2 to 5? It's an increase, but by how much? Try again. It's a plus 3 because from 2 to 5 is plus 3, 5 to 8 is plus 3, 8 to 11 is plus 3. So what would be my next number? That's fine. Thank you for trying. So what's the next number, guys? Excellent. 14, because we're going to add 3. And what would be the next number? Excellent job, guys. Thank you for the quick response. And then the last term would therefore be what? 20. So this is easy because we are obviously going in order. But suppose I was to ask you what number would be the 21st position where n is 21. No, that now produces an issue because nobody really expects you to go right out until you get 21 spaces. There's a formula that you could generate to figure out what number is in the 21st position. So I have a question for everyone. How much persons did this topic already? If you did it already, say yes. If you have not done it before, say no. I'm watching the chat. If you have done this topic before, say yes. If you have not, say no. Okay. All right. So in this case, there are some numbers that we need to know. What type of numbers are we aware of? We know about even numbers. And what do we know about even numbers? Even numbers are numbers that could be divided by 2 without a remainder. There's a formula for that. So if I was to write out those numbers, let's write this out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, dot, dot, dot. And we know dot, dot, dot means continue until infinity, right? Anybody know the formula for even numbers? The formula for even numbers is 2n. How did I get that? If I go from here to here, I add 2. From here to here, I add 2. From here to here, I add 2. So that means that the beginning of the formula is just what? 2n. Everybody see that? So this is the formula for all even numbers. Suppose I asked, what would be the 8th even number? What would you do? Anybody want to make a guess what you think that can be? What is the 8th even number? Take a guess, guys. What would be the 8th even number? And there's more than one way to find it. You got a long way, you got a short way, or you could take a guess. So let's see if anybody willing to try before we move on. So we have 16, we have 18. Anybody else? What would be the 8th even number? No, if I say 8, doesn't that mean n is equal to 8? Because that's the 8th position. And we have a formula. What's the formula? 2n. So if I want to find which number is in the 8th position, I just plug it into my formula by saying 2 times 8 equals 16. Everybody see that? Because what is the main focus here? The main focus is the formula. So these are the formulas that you need to know out your head. Even numbers. What is the opposite of even numbers, guys? Odd numbers. No, I want you to pay attention to this because this is an example of how to find your formula. So let's write out the odd numbers. Odd numbers would be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So let's stop here. The first thing that you always do is to determine, is there a constant number being added or subtracted from each term? So let's go 1 to 3. What is happening between 1 to 3, everyone? Let's go quick. What is the pattern here? Add 2. So let's see if that's true for all the numbers because you have to make sure it's true for all the numbers. So let's add 2. Add 2. Add 2. So once the number at the base is consistent, that's the beginning of your formula. So what does that mean? The beginning of my formula would be 2n. But why I can't leave it as 2n, everybody? What does 2n gives us? 2n don't give us even numbers. So let's go for n is equal to 1. Because that's the first number. I substitute and I would get what? 2 times 1. That would give me 2. But the first number is not 2. What is the first number? The first number is what? 1. So if I count in twos, let's go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So to finish the formula, I need to determine how do I go from 2 to 1? Anybody could tell me? What do I do to 2 to get 1? Subtract 1. Everybody see that? And let's see if it's true for all of the numbers. Do I subtract 1 to get from 4 to 3? Do I subtract 1 to get from 6 to 5, 8 to 7? So that means, what is our actual formula? Our actual formula is 2n. Where did we get the 2 from? That's the consistent number from each digit, minus 1. Where did we get the minus 1 from? After we identify 2n as the base, we write our multiples of 2's, and then we see how to get from the first to the second number. So if you're not sure what we're doing, don't worry. We're going to do enough examples to lock it down. So that means, what is our formula for odd numbers? 2n minus 1. You have to memorize this. Everybody, what's the formula for even numbers? Type it in the chat. What's the formula for all even numbers? 2n. You have to memorize that. The next one we're going to do that you need to memorize is also square numbers, but that's easy. Everybody should know what square numbers are, right? Do we know what square numbers are? Yes or no? Talk to me quick, quick, quick. What are square numbers? We know what square numbers are. So if I say 1 squared, that's 1. 2 squared, that's 4. 3 squared, that's 9. So 1, 4, 9 are these numbers that we call square numbers. This has a formula of n squared. And you should be able to know how to identify square numbers. So if this is the first thing everybody should have in their books. Once you have these types of numbers here, which would be even, odd, and square, say, got it, and then we're going to move on to some practicing. All right. So what we're going to do is practice finding the formulas for 2 types of equations. The 2 types of equations we're going to look for is linear, and the second type is quadratic. So linear functions means that n just has a power of 1, and quadratic means n has a power of what? Anybody know what is the power for quadratics? 2. Remember the quadratic formula with x squared, ax squared, bx plus c? Quadratic. So those persons who don't know, anytime you have a variable with a power of 2, that's what we call a quadratic equation, right? It has a quadratic term in it. Anytime the power on the n is 1, we call that linear. So we're going to start off with linear examples. So everybody should be writing this with me. Linear examples. And with this type of question, guys, the more we practice, the easier it's going to become. So even if you don't get it at the first or at the beginning, do not give up. Stay focused, all right? So we're going to start off with this example. And this is where I'm going to ask everybody to not write for now and just pay attention, okay? So everybody ready? If you're ready, say ready. So we have some steps we have to follow. And honestly, as easy as this go, I promise you, if you stick to the steps, you will not make mistakes and you will always get this right. Step 1 is to find out if there's a constant number between each. So let's see if that is the case here. How do I go from 5 to 8? And you can't just say 3. You have to see if it's add or subtract. Because remember, sometimes a number could increase or sometimes a number could decrease. We have 33 persons in the chat. I need more persons to talk and contribute. Nobody should be writing. What everybody should be doing is blowing up the chat for me right now. Yeah? Thank you very much, guys. So as I was saying, how do I go from 5 to 8? I add 3. Now we need to see if that's the truth for all the other terms. How do I go from 8 to 11? I add 3. How do I go from 11 to 14? I add 3. So what does that mean? I have found the base of my formula. So that means my base of my formula would be 3n. Everybody see that? If it was plus 2, plus 2, plus 2, what would be the base of my formula? 2n. If it was plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, what would be the base of the formula, everybody? If it was plus 5? 5n. So let's make sure we understand step 1. If you got it, say got it. And that's everybody. If you understand how to get the base of your formula, say got it. And it's easy. You just identify if there's a constant number going from each term to the next. Once it is, that's the base. No, what does 3n mean? 3n means you're multiplying numbers by 3. Anybody remember what n stands for? N stands for the position. So for example, 5 represents n is 1, because that's position 1. 8 represent n is 2, so that's position 2. 11 represent n is equal to 3, because that's position 3. Everybody understand what n stands for again? Good. Talk to me, talk to me. Make sure you understand where we're going, because each thing is important as we build our understanding. Okay. Now, 3n means 3 times n. That means we're multiplying by 3s. So let's count in 3s, everybody. What's the first multiple of 3? It would be what? 3, then what? 6, then what? 9, then 12. Everybody see how we get the numbers above? These numbers represent the base of our formula. Now, to finish the formula, we need to see what needs to happen to go from the top number to the bottom number. Because 3n is not the formula, because when I get 3, 6, 9, that's not the numbers they give me. What numbers they gave us? They gave us 5, 8, 11, 14. Now, how do I go from 3 to 5? It can't be minus if you're getting bigger. So instead of minus 2, what is the pattern happening here, everybody? How do I go from 3 to 5? How do I go from 6 to 8? How do I go from 9 to 11? How do I go from 12 to 14? And what do we notice? In the same thing, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. So that means, what is our overall formula? 3n plus 2. How everybody feeling so far? Everybody understand the 2 steps that we did just now? Because we're going to keep practicing, so don't worry. But I just want to make sure you understand what we've done so far. Talk to me, talk to me. All right, let's do another one. B. Don't write yet, don't write yet, don't write yet. Just make sure you're following and you're understanding what we're doing, okay? I'll give you a chance to write. So let's do this one. 9, 14, 19, 27. What is the first step, everybody? What is the base of our formula? So before I tell you, I want you to tell me what is the base of our formula. How do we find the base of our formula? We look to see if there's an even number going across. So how do I get from 5 to 14? That's plus 5. How do I go from 14 to 19? Plus 5. How do I go from 19 to 27? Plus 5. So what's the base of our formula, everyone? Excellent job. 5n. What does 5n means? 5n means we're counting in what? We're counting in 5s. Agree or disagree? So one number should go at the top, because that's important. We're counting in 5. So there's going to be 5, 10, 15, 20. No. Who could tell me how to finish the formula? How much more we need then? How do I go from 5 to 9, 10 to 14? This should be 20. This should be 24. That's my bad. Nobody even realize that? It should be 24. That was my mistake. Thank you, Shema. So everybody agree? So what's the overall formula to go from 5 to 9? I gotta add 4. 10 to 14, add 4. 15 to 19, add 4. 20 to 24, add 4. So what is our formula? 5n plus 4. Okay, how are we feeling about this now? Feeling a little better? Because we're going to try one more together. You're going to copy down the 3. But I know some are still writing, even though I say pay attention. But yeah. So let's try one more. 1, 7, 13, 19. Let's go, everybody. What's the base of this formula here? We find out how to increase from one term to the next. So let's go. How do I go from 6 to 7? Do I add a number? Do I subtract? So we add 6. So I have to make sure it's add 6 for everybody. You have to make sure. Add 6. So once everybody's add 6, we know the base of our formula is 6n. What does that mean? That means we're counting in sixes, right? So what number should be above here? 6, 12, 18, 24. Now, who could finish the formula for me? How do I go from 6 to 5? Excellent. I'm minus 5. 12 to 7. I'm minus 5. 18 to 13. Minus 5. So, everybody, what is our formula? 6n minus 5. If you think you understand it now, like you think you could do one on your own, say, got it? You see how simple it is if you follow the steps? Step 1, identify the constant term being added or subtracted. Step 2, write out those multiples above. And then step 3, identify how to get from the multiples to the actual number. Did I have to add an extra number? Did I have to subtract an extra number? That's how you find your formula. So guys, copy this down for me. Once you copy down these 3, sit done. And once most persons sit done, we're going to try one on our own. So we're going to try a few before we actually get into the CXC questions. And then we're going to try some quadratic examples. So I see 2 persons said done. Just waiting for more persons to let me know that they finished. Zoom a bit in, zoom in or zoom out. Here. That's better? Okay. Now, guys, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Question 7 is easy, but people tend to forget or they just make mistakes with this question. So what I'm hoping that we do today is that we add question 7 to one of our strong topic lists. When you see question 7, you should be like, yes, I can kill this. I can get my full marks. A definite pass question. How are we looking, everybody? Almost finished? Okay, that's another person done. All right, y'all ready for a question to try on your own now? This one is bigger numbers, so it's gonna be a challenge. So but I believe you guys could do this. You ready? Stat. All I want is the formula. So write it down, follow the steps. You know you have your examples to follow or help guide you, and you're working as fast as possible. And once you get your answer, just you could either say done or you could post your answer in the chat. That's it. Anybody else got that? Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Tell me where you're getting. Excellent job, everyone. So let's go. So to go from 13 to 6 plus 3, if you're still working, don't give up. Plus 3 plus 3. So that means our formula starts with 3n. So 3n means what? Multiples of 3. So that would be 3, 6, 9, 12. But that's not what they asked. That's not what they gave us. They gave us 13. So the next thing for you to do is to say, how do I go from 3 to 13, 6 to 16, 9 to 19, 12 to 22? And it's obvious, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10. So your answer is 3n plus 10. All right, I'm going to give you guys a hard one. Y'all ready for a hard one? Or you want us to do this one together? So let me give it to you and then we see. So check this challenge question. So 10, 7, 4, 1. What you notice about this question, guys, this one is a little different because rather than increasing, this one is doing what? Decreasing. So let's go. You do the same thing. How do I go from 10 to 7? Talk to me, talk to me. Minus 3, very good. 7 to 4. Minus 3, 4 to 1, minus 3. So that means no. What is the base of our formula? Instead of it being positive, no, it's going to be what? Negative. So that means we're going to end up with negative 3n. So that means we need to find the multiples of negative 3. So what would those numbers be? Negative 3, negative 6, negative 9, negative 12. Now, this is where students just get trouble. How much you need to add to negative 3 to get to 10? Let me see who could figure this part out. Get your calculators. Somebody said 13. Is that true for all the numbers? What do you do with 13? You're adding it or you're subtracting it? So Leon says adding 13. Everybody should be using your calculators and seeing if that's true. So what you should be doing is putting negative 3 in your calculator plus 13 and see if you get 10. Negative 6 plus 13 and see if you get 7. Negative 9 plus 13. So if you add 13 to all, do you get the answer? Talk to me, everybody. Let's go, let's go. Because remember, you have to verify that in your own way. Which part is no divine? Which part not giving you one? The right answer. Negative 3 plus 13. Do you get 10? Negative 6 plus 13. Do you get 7? So the answer is, they are correct, negative 3 plus 13. And this is what I talked about earlier, being good with negative numbers. You get it now? So this one is the challenge for everybody, and then we're moving on to some CXC questions. So try this one for me, everyone. 6, 4, 2, 0. Everybody try to find the formula for that one, please. 6, 4, 2, 0. Once you think you have an answer, say done. If you want to share the answer that you got, you can do so. So for those who joined late, what we're doing today is we are doing question number 7, which involves us doing patterns and sequences and investigation. So if given a set of numbers, we should be able to find the law or the rule that could generate any number in that pattern sequence. So the first thing that you do is you identify what is happening from the first term, second term to third, third to fourth. So I've seen some answers. So let me see if everybody else agree or disagree. Is that true? Very good, guys. Very good. Very good. From 6 to 4, that means you got to subtract 2. From 4 to 2, you got to subtract 2. From 2 to 0, you got to subtract 2. So what does that mean? The base of our formula is negative 2n. Yeah? Then we got to put these multiples at the top. So this would be negative 2. This would be negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, and negative 8. But that's not the part. The hard part, or I would say the more work comes when you got to figure out how to go from negative 2 to 6, how to go from negative 4 to positive 4. That's the pattern you got to find because that's the second part of the formula. So what number can I add to this to get that? So that would be plus 8. That's where your calculators come in. Plus 8. Plus 8. So that means what is the second part of our formula? Negative 2n plus 8. How everybody feeling about that? Y'all copy them all the examples? If you got it, say got it. So guys, what we just did was a linear equations. Linear equations. Well, a linear sequence. So you see the formula, we only have n. We don't have a power on the end. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at formulas for quadratic expressions. Now, let me tell you guys this. They don't usually bring quadratics for the exam only on years where they're being savage. Like when the exam really hard, they tend to do the higher level questions. So we're going to make sure we know both. So we're going to practice the quadratic examples now. So I want you to copy down the steps for quadratic examples. I think I have it somewhere, Hold on there. I think I did it already somewhere. So let me just see if I could just copy that instead of doing it over. I think it's these 2 steps. So let me just write it over them. Step 1, find the constant difference. This you will have to do twice. That's how you know it's quadratic. Step 2, divide constant by 2. And that will be a coefficient. I'm using some words. I don't know if everybody know what it means. Do you know what the word coefficient means? Yes or no? If I tell you 3n, the 3 is what we call the coefficient. That's the number in front of the letter or the variable, okay? Step 3, determine the mm, so let's make some sense. Let's make some sense out of this. So stop writing for now. Stop writing for now. Let me do this example so you could follow and see what each step means. And then we go from there. Everybody with me? So nobody should be writing. So let's take the first example. So example 1. So I could make sure you understand what you're writing. So example 1 would be, I can't even see. 4, 7, 12, 19, 28. So let's do that. Let's do that. All I need everybody to do for me is have your calculators in your hand to help me do some calculations, okay? So let's go. We're going to do this like normal. Find the constant term. So let's go. How much do I get if I add 4 to 7? And everybody should be talking to me, posting your answers. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And it's not 3. Remember, you must indicate that if it's what, add or subtract 3. That's extremely important, as we know, right? So that's plus 3. Everybody agree? But what happens when I move from 7 to 12? That's not plus 3. How much is that? Not plus 4 either. Check it again. So what is it? Plus 5. Let's go now. 12 to 19. What is 12 to 19? Good. 19 to 28. Very good. And the last one, 28 to 39. Guys, from this, shouldn't you realize it's not linear? Everybody don't realize that, right? It's not linear. Because if it was linear, we would have a constant number like from before. So let's make sure we see the difference. From the time you do that first step and your numbers don't match, the first thing that should come to your head is, oh my God, this is quadratic. So let's make sure we're on the same page here. So once you know it's quadratic, you have to go again, which is why I said will be done twice. You see what quadratic means? Twice. So let's do it again. How do I get from 3 to 5? How do I get from 5 to 7? Everybody see what's going on now? How do I get from 7 to 9? Tell me if you see what's going on here. Everybody see what's going on here? So now we have the plus 2. We got a constant number. But you see how before, when we did it once, we just used 3n? We cannot use 2n because we did it twice. So guess what you're going to end up doing? This is where step 2 comes in. Divide the constant by 2. So that's why we're going to say 2 divided by 2 is what? 1. So your base of your formula now, so your base would be 1n squared. And you realize why it can't be 1 and just n by itself. If it was linear, it would have just been 2n. But because it's quadratic and we did it twice, we had to divide the number by 2. And then our n is n squared instead. If you got it, say got it. And when I say got it, you understand the difference between when it's linear and when it's not linear. When it's not linear, you're going to end up doing it twice. And that twice should tell you, oh man, I got to divide by 2 because I had to do this step twice. In addition to that, you know it's quadratic, so you know you're not dealing with n anymore. You're dealing with what? N squared. No, from here, everything is normal. Because, for example, we know that 1n squared just means n squared. Agree or disagree? And we know our square numbers. What are our square numbers? The first square number is what? The first square number is 1. The next square number is 4. The next square number is 9. The next square number is 16. 25, 36. And what do we normally do with the top numbers and bottom numbers? Don't we see how to get from one to the next? So that's why it says determine the rest of the formula like usual. So let's do that. How do I go from 1 to 4? How do I go from 4 to 7? How do I go from 9 to 12? Everybody see what's going on? That's a consistent number that being added. What is that number that they add to get to the next number? Plus what? Plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3. So what is our overall formula then? Our overall formula is n squared plus 3. So let's go back over this example. What did we do first? We find the difference. But when we found the difference, we noticed that it's not the same consistent number like what we're accustomed to. So that means we got to go again. Once we go again, it means we are dealing with our quadratic examples. So if we go again and we realize now we got a constant number, what do we do with that number? We divide it by 2, and that's going to tell us the number in front. So that tells us it's now 1n squared. And we know that 1n squared is the same thing as n squared. And then from here, we do the normal thing that we're accustomed of doing to find the difference and find the formula. Everybody copy that down and we're going to do another example. We're not going to spend too much time on the quadratics. Why? Because we don't really get much of it often, to be honest with you. So we're not going to stress ourselves about it too much. What can't you see? Is that better? Oh, the steps. Oh, sorry. That's true. Sorry about that. Yeah, here it is. So copy down the steps and the examples. Yes. Once you guys finish, just say done and we're going to do another example. I don't know. I don't know if you're going to go straight down to 5, but we're going to go until we finish. We're going to go until we finish. Because we have to finish question 7. As like usual. That's the last word, like usual. No, honestly, this is one of my favorite questions. Why? It's almost like a puzzle. So once you look at it, like, okay, I'm trying to figure out the formula. I have to look at certain things. You would realize it's not as bad as, it is. So once you guys finish, it done, and we're gonna do another example, and then we move it on. Very good, guys. Very good, guys. Very good, guys. Very good, guys. This one, I want you guys to take charge with this one. I want you to tell me. I want to see if you could do it on your own. No problem. So I'm going to write example 2 to the bottom here so that everybody could start looking at it in the meantime. So example 2. Example 2, guys, this is just practice. The question's not going to come looking like this. This is just us practicing the skills that we need to answer question number 7. So this is what we're going to have now. We got 3, 9, 19, 33, 51. Y'all ready? It says determine the rest of the formula like usual. So for those who want to start example 2, no problem. I got you. Start with number 2 as well. So let's go together, everybody. So what is my first number here? Somebody said add 6. That's true. Very good. Let's go, everybody. So this is add 6, then. Come on, people, let's go. Very good. Add 10. Then, 'cause you won't believe people are struggling with this, eh? Them trying to figure out what's the numbers between is a big thing. So I need to make sure everybody know how to find each number. So let's go. Sorry. Sorry. Plus 14. And so what would be the last number? Plus 18. What type of equation or numbers are these, guys? Is it linear or quadratic? And we know why. Because if it was linear, like before, it would have been one number and half of the work finished already. But because the numbers don't match, we know that we got to do what? We got to go again. So let's run it again now. How do I go from here to here? Very good, very good. Is this consistent? Is it plus 4 for everybody? So that means we could stop now. That means we could stop now. Who could remember the next step? What do we do with this 4? Is it 4n? No, it could never be 4n because we had to do the steps twice. So what do we do now? What do we do now? What's step number 2? We divide. Very good. So we say 4 divided by 2. And how do we remember to divide by 2? Because we need to remember our steps is 2. Okay, very good, Ajani. So now our base is 2n square. If you got it, say got it. Everybody see what we just did there just now? Very good. Now, this is the part that makes this a little hard because this is our now base formula. What does 2n square means? 2n square means what? 2 times n square. Agree or disagree? So this number is what we got to put to the top because that's the base of the formula. So let's go. What is n for the first one? N is equal to 1. So that means we're going to get 2 times 1 square. What is 2 times 1 square? This is a serious question for everybody. What is the answer for 2n square? Because some people might think it's 4. Why is it 2? What do we do first? This means multiply and square. What do we do first? We square first. So 1 square is 1, because 1 times 1 is 1, and then we say 2 times 1. So let me just make sure you understand. 2 times 1 square. So you square it first. 1 square is 1 times 1, so your answer is 2. So what do we put above here? 2. How do we find the second position? N is equal to 2. So we're going to end up finding 2 times 2 square. Who could tell me the answer for that one now? What is the answer for this? And this is us practicing. Okay, very good, guys. Because we know this means 2 times 4. Everybody see that? So that will be 8. Very good, everybody. Very good. What is the third position number when n is 3? That will be 2 times 3 square. So what would that be? What is 2 times 3 square? Or watching the chat and not watching the chat, or watching to see who responding. Because this means what? 2 times 9, which is 18. So that's correct. So all I need you to tell me now with n is equal to 4, that is 2 times 4 square. What's the answer for that one? And then the last one, n is equal to 5. So that would be 2 times 5 square. So somebody said 32. Is that correct? But that would mean 2 times 16. So that's 32. Very good. Very good, guys. And what will be the last one? 2 times what? 25. So that's 50. So anybody see the formula now? Anybody seen the rest of the formula now? I seen it. I going from 2 to 3, 8 to 9, 18 to 19, 32 to 33. So what's the next part of the formula? So the base of the formula is the 2n squared. So what is the last part of the formula? How do I go from here to here? Here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. Everybody agree? So our formula then is 2n plus 1. If you got it, say got it. This one required us to do more work. Why? Because it's quadratic, obviously. It's not going to be as simple as what we did before when it came to the linear. Linear was straightforward. Everybody realize that? And this is why I'm making sure you're prepared for both. If CXC brings the linear, you know you're gone clear. If they bring the quadratic, you're gone clear as well, because it's not that hard. It's more work, but it's not that hard. So y'all finish copying down this example. If you finish copying down this example, we're going to move into doing actual CXC questions now. So I'm going to wait. Take a screenshot if you need to. And for those people who don't know, this year is the last year the exam is going to come in the same structure. The exam is going to change, not for June coming, the June after, June 2027. So June 2026 is the last time the exam is going to look like how it sits now. So if you know you're planning to write the exam, make sure you do everything possible to pass and be done. All right, everybody take a picture already. If you're still writing, can I move on now? All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So guys, we're going straight into the exam and how the exam look. You need a pen and a pencil. Which rules you're talking about? The quadratic rules? Take a picture, please. Finish? Okay. So let's do a quick review. Everybody feel like they have linear lock? Me really stressing on quadratic right now because, like I say, it don't really come often, but if it comes, we're gonna know what to do. But you see this, we gotta make sure we got this unlocked. Do we have the linear lock? You was in class from early to June. You was here when we did it at the beginning, or you missed all of that? So just to go very quickly, what do? You try to find out if there's a constant number from one term to the next. So how do I get from 5 to 8? Add 3, 8 to 11, add 3, 11 to 14, add 3. So because the numbers are consistent, the base of the formula is just 3n. You with me? You got a part? So you see how we get a 3n? Once the number matching, it's 3n. 3n means 3 times n, which are multiples of 3. So above, we write 3, 6, 9, 12. Once we do that, we then identify how to go from the top number to the bottom. This case, we had to do was add 2, add 2, add 2, add 2. So that's why our formula is 3n plus 2. So for now, that's all I want you to pay attention to, and then we can get into it more after. All right, guys. So what we're going to do now is exam time. So we're going to look at our first exam. So this one requires you to do some drawing. So let's look at the first question. Easy to max. So if you're ready, say ready. If you're ready, say ready. No, this gonna test your reading ability. Read that there for me and answer the question. You have 2 minutes to do that. So once I say time up, that's it. So start now. Read it, look at the thing, read it, and then answer it based on what it asks you to do. Zoom in more. Okay. Is this better? Don't say that. Lord, I zoom in too much now. Okay, this is okay? All right, so read it, and then I'm coming back to see where you try. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm gonna write the answer. I'm gonna draw the answer. So all you're gonna tell me is if you get your 2 marks or you ain't get your 2 marks. So for some strange reason, y'all hearing me? I just went to take some cough syrup and it come like it give me some energy there. Me know what kind of cough syrup is that, but I'm grateful still, you know? We're grateful still. So as I was saying, it says draw. So if you look at the drawing, it has two arrangements. I'm gonna send a picture for you. I'm gonna send a picture for you so you can see what I'm using. It got arrangement L and arrangement M. It says draw the diagram for 4 tables using arrangement L. So if you look at it, you realize the first column is 1 table, 2 tables, 3 tables. So I want 4 using L. So that means our tables should be vertical. Now I'm gonna do this smart. I'm gonna come across, let me see, black. I'm gonna come across and then split this in half. They ain't really half, but split this in half like that. Bring this down like that. So I'm gonna do 2 first and then split the 2 into 2. Everybody see what I did there just now? To try and make sure it look even-ish. Then something you gotta pay attention to is that each desk got 2 to the top, 2 to the bottom, 3 to the sides. So the first thing I'm gonna do is do the 3 boxes to the side. And you realize they're shaded, so you got to make sure you shade them as well. So even if it ain't look perfect or they look bent up like mines, that's fine. But once you have them shaded, so I'm gonna do the 3 on both sides. All right? How are you looking so far? And then I'm gonna do 2 to the top of each. So each table got 2 to the top, 2 to the bottom. So to save the time, guys, mine's gonna look ugly, but me and why yours look ugly, right? Okay. Once we understand, yeah? So my question is to you, how much of you got your full 2 marks? And your 2 marks would be you draw the right table arrangements, which would mean you do it the long way, and you have the right amount of chairs around your table. Yeah? Because this is where there's test to see if students paying attention. Because you know, if you had drawn M as well, you would have gotten the question wrong because they only asked for arrangement L. Good job, guys. And a lot of people is actually lose marks here, and I don't know how. All right, guys. So we're gonna go into the table now. This is what a typical question 7 looks like. There's a table that you have to complete, and then after there's some questions you have to answer using the tables as well. Now, this is what I want you to pay attention to. This table always represents N. And everybody know what I'm talking about when I say N, right? So N represents what? Position 1, position 2, position 3. So you see how our numbers used to go this way? How you realize these numbers they're going where? Downwards. If you got it and understand what I'm saying, say got it. So how we were doing it, we were doing like 1, 2, 3, 4. But now the number's going downwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah? All right. So that's the first thing we got to pay attention to. Another thing, so you see that's why to the bottom here, you're going to always see N. So you see the bottom of the table got N because N represents what? The position. And that means here and here are going to represent the formulas. So let me get started with the first column. So what do we normally do when we see numbers next to each other? Don't we see if there's a constant number being added? Agree or disagree? So let's see if you can see. Can you see? Peoples. So let's go. How do I go from here to here? Just like normal. Just like normal. How do we go from there to there? Talk to me. Talk to me. I want to see the chat. Flooded plus 4. Next one. How do I go from here to here? Plus 4. No, you have to stop. Don't ever assume that you just go straight and add 4. What should you make sure? You should make sure that it's the number that should come after 3. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means I can add another 4 to get the next number. So what's the first answer we get, everybody? What will be the next number? Excellent. Just like that, you got 1 mark already. Everybody see that? No. Do you think I could answer this one? Can I answer this one? Yes or no? Can I put an answer here? Not yet, because I don't even know what position this is. I don't know if it's 5 or 12 or 29 or a million. So guess what we have to go and find first? We now have to find the formula, right or wrong? So who could tell me what's the base of our formula? Since we're going 4 plus 4 plus 4, what's the base of our formula again? Excellent. 4n. Now, unlike before where we was freehanding, we in a table. So instead, you come in front. So you see the numbers we used to put to the top, you put it in front. So one number I should put in front. We counted in fours. Agree or disagree? So that will be 4, 8, 12, 16. Everybody with me so far? So now we just got to say, how do I go from 4 to 10? 8 to 14, 12 to 18, 16 to 20. Anybody could tell me what do I do to 4 to get to 10? Add 6. Is it true for the next one? Is 8 plus 6 14? Yes. Is 12 plus 6 14? 16? I work with me here because I don't even know what I just said just now. Let's go again. Is 16 plus 6 22? So that means what is our overall formula, everyone? 4n plus 6. If you got it, say got it. That's what we're talking about. So let me go. No, I still don't have what, even though I have the formula, I don't know what position this is, so I can't calculate this. So let's move over to this side. What you notice about this? This got an answer, but we can't use this yet either. So let's find out if we can figure out the formula for over here. So are you ready? There we go. How do I get from 6 to 16? Very good. Is that true? How do I get from 16 to 22? So that means, what is the answer for the next space? Everybody, let's go. Let me see. What is the answer for the next space? Is it 28? Very good. So what we got to do next, we got to find the formula. I want you to tell me what the beginning of the formula is. Everybody, what's the beginning of the formula? 6n. Very good. So what numbers I should write in front? What number should be written here in front? They're going to be 6, 12, 18, 24. Everybody agree? Multiples of 6 since we're doing 6n. So what is the add-on then? What's the add-on? Leon said +4. Tawana said +4. Malachi said +4. Junaya said +4. We confirming? Everybody saying +4?
Mhm.
Hey, who that there talking to me? Pick up yourself. So our formula is +4. So far we got 4 marks out of the table. If everybody good to go, say good to go. Because the next part now is algebra. The next part is algebra. Even if you can't remember nothing else, you must be able to do what we just do there just now. And this is the part where most students just fail this question. So this is the part I need everybody to pay attention to. Now watch this. If you look at this, right? This is the formula that will give you the answer for all of these here. Agree or disagree? So that ain't mean I could figure out this formula, if this formula is equal to that. So if we put these two equal to each other, so let's write it. 6n plus 4 is equal to 130. I can't find what n is from this equation. So I could figure out what n is. Everybody see that? Because we did this in class. So I need to transpose. And for those who are not in my class, do you know what transpose means? So this is for everybody. Do you know what it means to transpose? Because transposing is the number one skill in maths. So I need to see yes or no in the chat. If I tell you to transpose this, do you know what it means to do that? Hey, I not a Roger, you know. Yes, Roger, sir. Okay. Thank you for the honesty. I'm waiting to get more responses because then that will let me know how in deep or detail I have to go with this. So I need more people to let me know. Do you know what it means to transpose to find end? So transposing means you eliminate to find what you need. So we want n. So that means two things need to go. What need to go? The 4 and the 6. Who should I move first? Who should I get rid of first? And I need everybody to answer this. Should I get rid of the 6 first or should I get rid of the 4 first? I'm watching the chat because that's the difference. No, something you keep in mind. You get rid of the extra part first. Plus 4 ain't attached to n is like a tail. You get rid of the extra first. So that means, how do I get rid of plus 4? I do what? I just carry it over. When I carry it over, it becomes the what? The opposite. It becomes the opposite. So it becomes minus. So we're going to left back with 6n is equal to 130 minus 4. I want everybody to learn to make this a habit. You see, anytime you carry over something, make sure it's the opposite of each other before you continue. If it was plus over here, it must be minus on the other side. So what am I going to end up with? People calculators. 126. No, how do I get rid of the 6? 6n means 6 times n, so we do the opposite. So how do I get rid of the 6? What do I do? Can I carry it over as well, or I got to do something else? Excellent. I got to divide. I got to do the opposite. Whatever you do on one side, you must do on the next side. Calculator peoples, how much do I get? I think what that's 21. Who could tell me where I should write 21? On the first line or the second line? Let me see who thinking. Where should I write 21? Excellent job. Excellent job. Because remember, the first column tells us the position. So now that we know this is position 21, I can use this to calculate this now because now we know what n is. Talk to me. Anybody know what I should do to find that? I got the formula and I got what n is. So how do I find the answer for here? Don't I replace n with 21 now? So the formula for this is 4n plus 6. Everybody following me and what I'm doing? And in this space, we know what n stands for. So what should I write? Very good, divine. 4 times 21 plus 6. So what's the answer, somebody? That's what, 84 plus 6? 84 plus 6, which is 90. That's how you answer that question. So let's take a pause here and just wrap this up in terms of what we had to do to find the first part. What you realize we had to use, how do you know which formula you could use to find n? That ain't the one that they give you the answer to. So let's pay attention here. Everybody see that? We couldn't have used 4n plus 6 because we had no number for here. So it wouldn't allow us to find n. But they gave us the answer for this section. So we put these two equal to each other. And then what did we do? We transpose to find n. I want everybody to let me know if they understand this part. Yes or no? So you understand what you're supposed to be looking for. You look with what they give you. They give you 130, so you put it equal to the formula, you find your n. Then what is the second part? The second part, so which part you mean, Lovey? Remember, we already had both formulas, but we had to decide which formula can we use to find n. We couldn't use this one because we didn't have this answer here. You see what I mean, Anika? But didn't they give us the answer for this formula? They told us that the answer for this space is 130. You see that? So what we did, we put them equal to each other. So we put 6n plus 4 is equal to 130. And what did we do here? What is the T word? Somebody? What is the T word that we did to find n? We transpose. And once we transpose, we found what n was, and that was the answer for the first line. Everybody see that? So that means the first step was transposing. What was the second step? They're saying substitution. Then what we did here, we replace, because now we know what n is. So we replace what n was with the value, because we found out n was 21. So we, instead of putting back n, we put the value of n here, and we calculate the answer. So this was substitution. Don't worry, we're going to do enough practicing. But I just want to make sure everybody see the two things that we had to use. Everybody got it? If you got it, say got it. So the first step to find n, we transpose. The second step to find the other answer, we substitute. Okay? All right. Now, this part of the question, most people just leave unanswered or they get it wrong because this is a lot of reading. So I'm going to try break it down for us. But I feel like once we practice enough, it should become easy for you. So if you're ready for this part, you're ready. But this is where the real challenge is. The table ain't the challenge, you know. After we do enough practice, the table gonna come so easy to you. This part is where the challenge is, right? So I'm looking in the chat, waiting for more people to say that they're ready. Because when we're done today, we must be able to bat up question 7. We got bat up question 7. All right, so let's go. Leon needs to arrange tables to seat 70 people. So I want to understand something. What does here represent? What C represent? A, the number of chairs. And I want to make sure you understand the table. What does N represent? N represent the number of tables. So watch this. One table holds 10 people regardless. Two tables for arrangement L hold 14 and one holds 16. Everybody realizing the pattern, one holding more than the other? If I have 4 chairs, arrangement L gonna allow me to seat 22 people because that's 22 chairs. You gotta learn how to make sense of the table. You realize this ain't tell you that, you just got to use your common sense. So this is the part now that I want you to develop your thinking. Chairs ain't mean that's how much people could sit down. So that's the information you're looking at. Whereas the table is just the seating arrangement. So that's what you're supposed to be saying. So if based on this alone, which arrangement does naturally hold more people? L or M? Very good, because M could hold 28 with 4 tables, but L could only hold 22 people with the 4 tables. So everybody following me so far with what the tables mean and all this information so far? Okay, so let's go back here now. So now they're saying that we need to seat 70 people. That mean whatever formula we use, the answer must be what? The answer must equal to what? 70. Do you agree or disagree? No, we got 2 types of arrangements. What is the arrangements we got? L and we got M. And we ain't got some formulas for that. So what you think anybody could tell me what I should write above here? What should I put equal to these 2 things? Let me see who thinking. They want to know which arrangements would allow us to use the least amount of tables. What information is important to make equal to 70? Look at the table. Out of all these things in here, what do you think we should be using? It start with a F. Excellent. Everybody see that? And the formulas, that ain't the most important thing. That ain't the thing that allows us to calculate how much chairs. Everybody see what's going on? And we could calculate any amount of chairs when we got a number of tables, right or wrong, and then what they want us to find out. So here we're going to put 4n plus 6 is equal to 70, or 6n plus 4 is equal to 70. So let me know if everybody understand how we get these two equations, because that is what students fail to do in the exam, to know how to create the equations. You realize we didn't have to go make up nothing. All the things we needed is there already. We just need to know how to make the connection. So let me make sure I label it. This one was what? L, and this is what? M. So everybody see that? Let me just draw a line here. So let's make sure we understand this. What do you think we need to calculate here? They want to know how much tables they need. Which letter represent tables again? That means we need to find one letter. Let me see who's thinking. What should you do with these two things now? Oh my God. Yes. Very good, guys. And this is what I want us to develop. You think I care about the question? I don't care about the question. I care about the thinking. I need y'all to be able to read and break down the information so you know what to do. So they're telling you to find the tables, but you should know that what letter represent tables again? N. So what process we using? We're going to use transpose or substitution. That's it. Talk to me. What we going to do now? Transpose or substitute? If we want to find n, what do we do, everybody? I'm watching the chat, because if you can't think, you're going to struggle, you have to push yourself to think. Everybody see that? Very good. So let's go. We're going to transpose. So let's go. What do I move first, guys? The 4 or the 6 over here? Talk to me quick, quick, quick. So we carry over the 6 because it's plus. So we end up with 4n is equal to 70 minus 6 because it got to change. So 4n is equal to what? 64? So let's go. We divide by 4 on both sides. So n is equal to what for arrangement L? How much is this? 16? So that means for 70 people, how much tables we need? We need 16 tables for arrangement L. So now let's see how much we need for arrangement M. So let's go, guys. 6n is equal to 70 minus 4, because when it goes over, it becomes the opposite. So 6n is equal to what? 66. So n is equal to what? 66. Oh, sorry. Divide by 6. Divide by 6. So n is equal to 11. So that means 11 tables. So which one we choosing then, guys? So guess what? You have to say it. You have to say, use your calculations to justify your answer. So this is your calculations, but you have to say, we choose, who do we choose? M. If you got it, say got it. I'm very proud of you guys, actually. I'm very, very proud of you guys. And if anybody don't feel 100% about it, don't worry. Like I told you, with practice, it comes easier. With practice, it comes more familiar. With practice, you understand better. But this is what a question 7 is like. So let's go back over all the things we had to do. You must be able to pay attention to the instructions and draw what they ask you. Paying attention exactly to what they tell you to draw. This arrangement has 2 different options. They only ask you for one out of the 2. So you do that. Then when you go to the table, you pay attention to what is happening. You find your rule. And then once you find your rule, you use your information to find your missing answers. And then you apply algebra to answer the last section. How was that first question, guys? Was it okay? It was good? All right, so let's run and do another one. So let's see if we could do at least 2 more past papers. So let's see if we could do 2 more past papers before the end of class, because then that would make us a bit more confident. So there we go. Now this one is harder, but what I will ask you, because it's going to be hard for you to draw this, but look at it and tell me if you think you would be able to do this correctly. I think I could draw my screen. Anybody could draw my screen. But I don't want chaos. I don't want do it to cause a chaos. But let's go. It says to draw use figure 3. So you realize they make it easy. You didn't have to draw everything from scratch. But they say add on to make sure it represents figure 4. So I am going to ask you, what should I add on to this to make it 4? So you got 3 circles. So if you notice, I need to add on something. What should I add on? There. What should I add on? So you got the squares and you got the octagon. Excellent. Do you agree that I have to add on the 2 diamonds? Because that's important and you have to know what you should be adding. So let's add on the 2 diamonds together. Do not judge me. I am on the computer, so I could only do as much as I can. So if my thing look off, you know, that ain't so bad, right? Yeah. What missing from my diamonds specifically to be right? Something missing from my diamonds. Let me see if anybody paying attention. Excellent. You must do the little circles, the dots, the points. Very good, guys. Very good, guys. Okay, I done? I done? What should we add on next? This part, right? Okay, so there we go. Let's try the octagon. Excellent. So we're gonna go cross. Should I go cross or up? Talk to me. So do I go cross? Cross. So let's do the top and the bottom one time. Okay. Where do I go from here? So I'm gonna add on my dots one time. Where do I go from here? Up or down? Should I go up? Up? You sure? So this way or this way? Okay. So this way, right? And then this way. And then down. So we done now? Look at it, guys. Look at it. Are we done now? Very good. I hope everybody should be able to do this, huh? All right. So just say that we get 2 marks. Good to go. So let's do the table now. Ready? So here we have here figure number 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know what it represents. This is our ends. Then we have number of dots. So dots is D and P is perimeter. Everybody know what perimeter means? Perimeter means like the number of sticks going around, right? Okay. So let's see. I want you to figure out the formula for the first one. So we can start off together. What is this? Plus 8. What is this? Plus 8. So what will be the next number? So what is our first answer? That's a free mark there. Excellent. Everybody, what's the formula? Let me see if anybody gonna get tricked. What's the formula? Once I find that 8, what should I do next? Ajani say 8N. Is that true? Ladies and gentlemen, is that true? Because the number that we got coming down is 8. So the big part is 8N. So what numbers I should write in front in the multiples of 8? So what number should I write in front here? 8, 16, 24, 32. When you see this happening, that they match, what I mean? What I mean? That I mean, that's it. It's linear, but that means that's the formula. Everybody realize that? That you don't have to add or subtract anything else. It's linear and that's it. Everybody see how easy that one was? It's possible that they make it so easy that it just like that. Don't panic. That's it. Everybody see what I'm saying? Because if it was nine, it would be plus one. But in is the exact same numbers, they match already. So that's the formula. Y'all ready to do the next one? Let's do the next one. So what do I add here? Let we go, let we go, let we go. We're going to work this together. So what are we adding here? Very good. Plus six, plus six, plus six. So what's my next answer? Very good. So get a formula for me now. What's the base of the formula? 6n. So what numbers should I write in front here? Multiples of 6. So that's 6, 12, 18, 24. Somebody finish the formula for me then. Johnny cooking on gas fire. Do we agree? Janelle, do we agree? Everybody else, do you agree with them? Dev, do we agree? How do I go from 6 to 8? Add 2. 12 to 14, add 2. 18 to 20, add 2. 24 to 26, add 2. So our formula is add 2. Everybody realize how easy this is? Is it getting easier? Like it becoming like pretty easy? Talk to me. We ain't buck up on a hard one yet, but this is a standard paper question 7. A standard question 7 is this. I think at years they were throwing a throw-off question, and we're gonna look at some throw-off questions as well. But I just want to make sure we got the basics locked. So anybody remember how this was the last time? You realize nothing here. So what should I match together? Let me see who remember. Because it was two things we had to do. We either had to transpose or substitute. Which two should I put equal to each other to find, because we need to find n and we need to find this answer. So what did we do the last time? What did we make match? Is anything here to match? At least answer that question. Can I match this section here? No, because nothing there. Can I match these two? So everybody realize how you know which one you should be matching. So what we're going to match? We're going to match 6n plus 2 equal 86. Yeah, and what do we do from here? The T word. The T word, the T word. I want everybody find n. Get your books out. Find n for me, please. Right now, right now, right now, right now. Excellent. But everybody do it now. I think we did enough practice, so everybody should be able to find n for me. What is n? What is n? One person said 14. Is it true? Is that true? One person said 42. Another person said 14. Back check it and see. I want more answers, please. Which one is it? What is it? What is n? So this is what you should have been doing. Who do I move first? The plus 2. How do I move the plus 2? Carry over. So 6n is equal to 86 minus 2. So 6n is equal to 84, right? Then we do what? Divide by 6 on both sides. So 84 divided by 6 is 14. If you got it, say got it. We got 40-something people in here. Even if you're not sharing your answers, you have to answer me and let me know if you got it. So this was our transpose step. So I write 14 here. Who could remember what's the next step we got to do? What's the next step? We done transpose. What is the next thing we need to do to find this now? The S word. Excellent. Excellent. So now we have what n is, because we know n is 14. We also have the formula for this section. So now you need to transpose. So what is the answer? Somebody say 112, 112. Is that true? Tell me. I'm not working it out first. You got to try. Is it 112, everybody? Do we agree? The formula for this section is 8n. What does 8n mean? 8 times n. So 8 and n is 14. So that means we're multiplying 8 times 14, and 8 times 14 is 112. I trust in y'all. If you got it, say got it. You so fast. We did that. If you got it, lock. Because the next one, all right, doing the table by yourself, completely alone, to make sure you can sit down and do an exam. That's what we're talking about, guys. Excellent. So let's do now the worded problem. So now, and remember, all worded problems different. So what we got to pay attention to is keywords, right? So let's take a look at the worded problem. But make sure you understand the table, because remember, the worded problem always talking about the table. You realize that's what I did before? You realize I didn't read the word just by itself and make sure I understand the table. So let's understand the table. So we have figure, so figure 1, figure 2, figure 3, figure 4. And this talking about the drawing, by the way, if I didn't realize, is it represents this. So that's why the perimeter would be the sticks and the dots is the dots. Everybody see that? So let's take a look here. So this would tell us how much dots. So figure 1 always use 8 dots and it has 8 sticks. 16 dots, 14 around the perimeter. So let's go. For any figure where n is greater than 1, so that means every figure except figure 1. Why you think they did that? What you notice about figure 1 compared to everybody else, you realize for figure 1, the number of dots and the number of the perimeter is the same. So you see why they say greater than 1? I want to make sure you understand why. Everybody see that? Everybody else, 1 is bigger than the other. Who is bigger? And the dots is always bigger than the perimeter. But that is not true for the first one. So that's what this means. So for any figure n greater than 1, so that means from figure 2 and onwards, the number of dots is greater than the number of perimeters. So you see, this is where the reading part comes through. So everybody should see that. So here's what they're asking us now for. Determine the value of n for a figure in which the difference between D and P is 36. You see, this is the drama now. Anybody think they know how to put this as an equation? First of all, what is the keywords here? What word is important? In difference. Talk to me, talk to me. And what are we subtracting? We subtracting what? D minus P. And what you think is 36 mean? If they say is 36, that ain't mean equal to 36. Tell me if you got it. No, obviously we can't stop here. What do we always use instead? What did we use in before? We have to change this. We can't just use D. We gotta use something from the table that would help us find N. What do we use again? The F word. That sounds so bad, Jesus. But you know what I mean. What do we replace? Not function. You're close. Formula. Everybody see that? And the formulas we need, like similar like the last time. So what's the formula for D? Somebody, anybody? Excellent. Tre. So I'm going to put here 8n minus, what should I put minus what? 6n plus 2 equal 36. So let's pause right here. How you feel? You realize what we did there just now? Reading and expression. Reading expression. No, from here, everything from here ain't algebra now. You realize that? So I want to realize something. CXC gonna test you on a topic that gonna help you get your expression, but everything after you get your expression is just algebra. Anybody realizing that pattern? So we ain't got to use nothing else from above to answer this. How would you go about answering this? Can I do anything on the left-hand side? Somebody should stay and somebody should go. Who should go from this side? Somebody don't belong here. Very good, because all we want on one side ain't just the ends. So there we go. That means we're going to move the plus 2 over. When we move it over, it's going to become what? Minus. So we're going to end up with 8n minus 6n is equal to 36 minus 2. I think I could finish that. I want the answer. I want the answer. Everybody should be able to finish this. I got 8 apples. If I got 8 apples and I take away 6 apples, how much apples I got left? Everybody see that? Everybody see how we get 2n? You gotta make sure you put it 2n. Equal what? 34. Very good. Am I done? So what do I do next? I divide by 2. Whatever you do on one side, you do on the other side. So n is equal to what? And that's it. How about you feeling? You realize ain't that hard? Everybody realize it's not that hard? What is the hardest part? The hardest part is reading the statement and writing down the correct expression. Agree or disagree? Because everything else, the algebra part is easy. So what I really want us to make sure we focus on is making sure we could read and express. Okay, so we finish our next exam. How I felt about this one? Talk to me, talk to me. Again, easier? We got time for one more. Should I find a hard one first to do, like a really hard one? So we could see how a hard one look and see if we could do it. I'm waiting for everybody to talk to me. This is your time to tell me how you're feeling. So I'm going to look for a hard one, and I want to give y'all one to try on your own for homework. Would y'all do that for me if I give y'all one to try for homework? So I want to give y'all the homework one first, so y'all can screenshot it. Um, and you can send me a picture of it. Once you send me a picture of it, I will send you the answer to check to see if you're right or not. Okay? No, for me, this is a thing where you have to do personally, because at the end of the day, you got to want it for yourself. So how about we use this one as our example? June 2021. So y'all want me to send out the picture on WhatsApp instead? So it's easier for you to see? Okay, that makes sense, yeah? Somebody remind me that I want to send y'all June 2021. So just after class, send me a message to remind me it's June 2021. I'm supposed to send y'all, okay? So this is the one I'm gonna send y'all for homework to practice. And we're gonna look for a hard one to do. This is a interesting one to do. Ain't necessarily hard, but interesting. So let's look. So this here, this one you don't have to draw. They just want to complete the tables. Does this table look like the table we've been doing all the time? So let's look at the two examples. Look at this. How much columns this got? 3. Everybody see that? How much columns this got? 3. That look like the same thing? So everybody see this is a real thing now. But I think we got this. What is something you don't notice that's even different about this here? I realize I seen the symbol pi. Don't let that throw you off. It's just focus on what? The numbers. Everybody see that? Because the only thing that can change now is that you have the number and pi behind it. Everybody agree with me? So let's take it step by step. Let's take it step by step. And there is a lot more things going on here. So let's deal with column 1. Can we do column one? So let's go. Yeah, ready? Let's run it. How do I go from here to here? 4. Here to here. So is this true? So what is the base of my formula? So what is the overall formula then? So I'm gonna write what here? 4, 8, 12, 16. Everybody agree with that, Johnny? Is it 4n plus 1? Excellent. But also, how do I know I could do this? Because after 4 is 5. So that means I could find this extra one as well. So what's the answer for this one? Excellent, Malachi. Excellent job. So tell me if everybody okay with the first one. Pretty straightforward, right? Let me see who paying attention. Look at them numbers there in the second column. What type of numbers are those? Let me see if anybody paying attention for you and know the numbers. Yep. Them they square numbers. Agree or disagree? Because even though no number in front of pi, 1 is in front of pi. And don't we know the formula for square numbers? What is the formula for square numbers? Remember we did that at the beginning of class. The formula for all square numbers is just what? N square. So that means, what should I add to this to make it complete? There's somebody missing. What should I add to the back? Because it's square numbers to the front and something always to the back. What's to the back? Is that I had? Good. Look at this one now. They're saying the same exact thing. What we gonna definitely put here? We know pi gonna come to the back. So we just gotta focus on the formulas in front. Everybody with me? One number in front here. What should I put in the front here? In a 1, so that I know me get confused. So let's go. How do I go from 1 to 3? 3 to 5, 2 to 7. So what's the base of my formula? What's the base of my formula? I realize what type of number is 1357? I didn't give out a formula as well for odd numbers. Them they in odd numbers. But even if you don't remember the formula for odd numbers, you can still go. So let's go. 2n. What's the formula for 2? So you're right, or 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8. So it's going to be excellent. 2n minus 1. But put this in brackets, eh? Because why should I put this in brackets? Because it's more than one thing in front of the pi. So what should be my next number? What's my next number? What's the next answer? Oh, I just gonna say only one person answer correctly, you know. Only one person answer correctly. 9 pi. Everybody okay so far? One to you, Junjun. Let's finish this. First thing you can tell me which one gave you problems. So what you realize about this as well, what is in the back? Pi is in the back. Agreed? So there we go. What do I add? What do I add? 6 to 12 is 4 plus 6. What do I add here? What type of equation is this, guys? Anybody see what's going on here? Everybody see that? Very good. So what I mean, I have to do it again, right? So let's go from here. So that means I would add the next one you're adding would be what? Plus 10. Agreed? So what's the answer for the next one? It can't be 8 because watch it. It's plus 4, plus 6, plus 8, plus 10. So what would be the answer? Instead of 28 pi, it would be 30 pi. No, because this is quadratic, that means we got to do this again. So let's go. 4 to 6 is what? Plus 2. 6 to 8 is plus 2. 8 to 10 is plus 2. So what we going to do with the 2 again? Anybody remember what we're supposed to do with the 2? We're supposed to say 2 divided by 2 is 1. So what is the base of our formula? N square. So the numbers in front going to be R square numbers. So this is what you're going to do. So you're going to say 1 square is 1. 4 9. That's right. Hold on there. Hold on there. Un momento, guys. Hold on. Mm, 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 mm. Mm. Is this the right thing? I don't know. Oh, it had one more rule I forget to teach all you guys. It is quadratic, but it's a special type of quadratic. I want to show you something. Anybody ever hear about what consecutive means? Hold on there. Anybody know what the word consecutive means? Yes or no? Consecutive mean back to back next to each other. So for example, if I ask what is the first three consecutive whole numbers? The first whole number is 0. So what will be after 0? 1. What will be after 1? 2. Everybody see that? So this is what you call consecutive, back to back to back. Everybody see that? So watch this. If n is your first number, how did I go from 0 to 1? I add 1. So a way to represent two consecutive numbers would be n, and what will be the number after n in n plus 1? We're going to end class just now, no problem. So what will be the next number after n plus 1? Somebody just guess. So if the first number is n, the next number is n plus 1, what will be the next number? N plus 2. Excellent. Everybody see that? So the consecutive rule looks like this. The product of two consecutive rules. So look at here. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 6 is 30. And that rule looks like this. N times n times 1. So you need to write down these numbers for me, please. You see this section here? Copy that down for me as the rules for consecutive numbers. You gotta know that these numbers represent consecutive numbers. I know it was a rule I was forgetting. This is a rule. Once you finish copy, don't say, done. I was like, why they saying following the quadratic rule? So even like technically quadratic, because if you think about it, this represents n square plus n. Everybody see that? So let's see if we could even find it in the question. So for now, I just want to show you something. I'm glad we're doing this question. So watch this. So let's do the n square as we were saying. So watch this. Because n here would be, this would be 1 square. So I'm just going to write it. Everybody paying attention to see what I'm talking about? So this is 1 square, right? I'm hearing something. Hold on there, guys. I'm hearing something. I don't know why. Hold on. Keep your mics muted, please. So we're watching, right? So n square is 1, but this ain't 1 square plus 1. This ain't 2 square plus 2. This ain't 3 square plus 3. Think about it. Look at it. Everybody seeing it now? Because 9 plus 3 is 12. 4 plus 2 is 6. What will be the next one? 4 square plus 4. What is 4 square? 16 plus 4. Everybody seeing it now? I'm glad that we're doing this one because this is a complex one. So what will be the next one? 5 square plus 5. What is 5 square? 25 plus 5. So everybody see what the formula could be? So it's two options. It could be n times n plus 1, which is the consecutive rule, or it could be n square plus n with pi in the back. I'm so glad we did this one. Everybody okay with this now? Everybody see the pattern in this one with the new rule that we just learned? This don't happen often, but this is a year when they just like to give you a little bit of a trouble. So that's why this question came. All right. So we're done with that. But now that we complete the table, was it that bad in terms of all the others? All right, so here's what I'll do then. I think I'm gonna stop here today and I'm gonna send you all the questions so that at least you could use the last 10 minutes that we have to do it. How that sound? All right, so we've done question number 7. So I want you to give me out of 10 how you feel about what you learned today for question 7. If you feel like you learned something, it was pretty manageable. So 8 out of 7 would be like that's your understanding. 1, 0 would be in understand nothing. 10 would be you understand everything. All right. Excellent job, guys. So those in my class, we're gonna do some practice on this week. If anybody want me to send them practice as well, who is not in my class, you could always message me, okay? So I'm gonna send the homework now or the practice question now, and that's it for today. Have a good day, guys. See you tomorrow or this week. Bye.